Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So, as we know, we are currently in Series 42 in Forza Horizon 5, themed as Horizon Extreme, and in this monthly update, we only got one new to Forza car, which was of course the Deberti C10 Slayer that was leaked months in advance by Deberti themselves. But apart from that, for the remaining weeks of this update, there are no new to Forza cars available to earn, which is fine, as throughout the years, for those who have played the Forza Horizon series long enough, we'll know that generally speaking, every New Year's update is never packed with the most amount of content, as that's when Playground Games do take some time off and reset for the following year. However, there has been something that has kind of bothered me about this game recently, and it has something to do with the Horizon Backstage being a time scam for players. Now, for those who may not be aware, the Horizon Backstage was a feature that was first seen late in the life of Forza Horizon 4, and the point of this feature was to bring back all the timed exclusive hard to find cars that were introduced during the game's life through the festival playlist into a one-stop shop that players could go out and purchase. But instead of using your traditional in-game credits to buy these cars, you had to earn a backstage pass, which can be obtained either by completing a portion of the festival playlist or the Super 7 challenge card series, if I remember correctly. And also, the cars in the backstage shop won't all be available from the beginning. Instead, the roster will grow as each week Playground Games will put up 2 cars for players to vote for, and the winning car would then be placed in the Horizon Backstage, while the losing car will then go back into the pool of hard to find vehicles to then appear for voting again at a later date. On paper, this was a nice feature as it finally allowed players that perhaps started Forza Horizon 4 late, or those who just missed a week to earn those exclusive cars a chance to obtain them. Now, fast forward 4 years later, and the Horizon Backstage is back in Forza Horizon 5. It's the exact same concept, however, because this game launched with a monthly festival playlist from the very beginning, there has been far more hard to find cars that has been introduced throughout this game's life. Therefore, instead of a choice between 2 cars, there are now 4 cars grouped into 2 that we can vote for each week. Now, because this is a feature that has been introduced into the Horizon series for the second time and with no real fundamental changes, I'm beginning to see past this feature beyond its surface level, and I want to raise some real questions which I think should at least be discussed. Otherwise, if the next Horizon game releases, we're going to see the same recurring pattern again. First off, why can't Playground Games just put all the hard to find cars in the Horizon Backstage right now? To me, it makes no sense to drip feed 2 vehicles a week. Not only that, the fact that the car choices are grouped into pairs is problematic already. For example, this week we have these 4 cars that we can vote for, and let's say that you don't have the Razor Tachyon and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Well, you're essentially screwed. At best, you will get one of the cars you want and then have to wait until who knows when until the other car will reappear for voting again. At the very least, let us vote for any 2 cars instead. That will give the players a bit more of a choice, but in the end, the results isn't based on what you specifically want anyways, it's what everyone else wants too. And every Forza Horizon 5's player's journey is completely different to your own, so even if you do cast your vote, you may still not like the result. Therefore, not everyone is going to be happy, which is why drip feeding these hard to find cars into the Horizon Backstage is silly to begin with. Not only that, with over 200 hard to find cars in Horizon 5 right now, this means that let's hypothetically say that if the developers were to stop introducing any more hard to find cars from this moment onwards, it's going to take at least 2 years before every hard to find car finally appears in the Backstage shop. To me, I think that is ridiculous that we have to wait that long before the entire car roster for Horizon 5 becomes fully accessible for all players. The only logical reason I can think as to why Playground Games is drip feeding these hard to find cars back is to further extend the longevity of the game. Not for the gamers, but for the higher ups, so the reports can read, look, Forza Horizon 5 has a healthy player base even though the game has been out for several years now. Each week, players are engaged without factoring in how each player's experience truly is when they are playing the game, as that can't really be measured. As long as there are players coming back to check for which hard to find cars are available, that's all that matters. And this is then further amplified by how we obtain these backstage passes so that we can use it in exchange for a hard to find car in the backstage shop. So the first option is to complete 40 points in the festival playlist, which, if you have played Forza Horizon 5 for a while now, has certainly become an extremely repetitive experience. The first 20 points is actually a lot easier and faster to collect than the next 20, there's no denying that. For this week, I believe it took me around 40 minutes to get the next 20 points after earning the Unicorn V2. Now, I know 40 minutes doesn't sound like a long time in the grand scheme of things. However, when you've done basically every race there is to do in this game, 40 minutes feels incredibly monotonous. And we're doing this simply because Playground Games decided that these hard to find cars need a completely different in-game currency. So if you want one of these cars, you must complete 40 points from the playlist, or the other way is to earn 1000 Forzathon points. Now, if the week has a treasure chest, and if you own the house which grants you double Forzathon points, then to earn 1000 points is not too bad. But still, there's no going around as to how you must earn the remaining points to get the second backstage pass, and that is by completing the Horizon arcade events, in which most of the time you are doing it by yourself. I have to admit, these Horizon arcade events are absolutely boring. The objective is weak and the reward is very minimal at just 60 Forzathon points. But more importantly, it just doesn't feel satisfying at the end. And the fact that you probably have to do at least 4 of these, in which they'll appear every 15 minutes, is nothing more than another way to simply increase the time retention for each player's session, regardless if we are having fun or not. So then, what's the solution? Even though I don't think Playground Games is going to change anything with the Backstage Pass, at least with Forza Horizon 5, if they want to keep the Horizon Backstage Shop as a feature, the first thing I would do is absolutely have every hard to find car in the game available for players to acquire in the Horizon Backstage. Scrap the whole drip feeding 2 cars a week. I mean, we are already capped at earning a maximum of 2 backstage passes a week anyways, so why continue adding further layers of restrictions for the cars we can get in a car racing game? Then any car that was previously featured in an older Forza Horizon game that was introduced as a hard to find car through the playlist in Horizon 5 will automatically be dumped in the auto show. Sure, for newer players, this may not be as big of an issue, but if you have played any of the older Forza Horizon games, I mean, why are cars like the Lycan Hypersport in the Horizon Backstage when it could be bought directly in the auto show in Horizon 4? It just doesn't make any sense. And if you played Forza Horizon 5 from launch, you will remember just how many cars were deliberately left out at launch from the previous Horizon titles, only for it to be recycled through the festival playlist as quote-unquote new weekly content. Then I would make earning each backstage pass much easier. Instead of 40 points, I'd just simply put it in the trials event, as it's arguably the most challenging event in the playlist, as you never know, you might just have some really bad teammates. But thankfully, most of the time, this isn't the case, and I would also drop the price of each backstage pass to just 400 Forzathon points. That way, if you find the treasure chest as well as the weekly Forzathon challenge, that'll be enough to get yourself an extra pass with points to spare. However, this solution still kind of feeds into the engagement forced experience. What if we completely abandon the Horizon Backstage feature altogether? At this stage of Horizon 5, where I believe we are closer to the end than we are in the beginning, Just place all the cars that were introduced from update 1 through to, let's say, update 38 in the auto show, and any newer hard to find cars will have a timed war exclusive of around 3 to 4 months. That way it still incentivizes those who want the cars first, but with a guarantee that if any players for whatever reason have missed out on these specific cars, you can openly purchase the vehicles a few months down the track by simply using the in-game credits that you have earned, which really should be the only in-game currency used to purchase a vehicle in a Horizon game anyways. The developers even did this back in update 30, where they decided to place a handful of hard to find cars directly in the auto show. But since then, it's never happened again, which is very unfortunate. Ultimately, I see the Horizon Backstage as a cheap way to increase players' retention without having to actually make the core gameplay more engaging. It's really a feature that, let's be honest, doesn't even need to exist, and if no one talks about it, guess what? For the next Horizon title, whenever that's going to be announced, we are probably going to see the same thing again. But anyways, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the Backstage Pass? If so, tell us why. If not, are there any ways as to how Playground Games could improve upon this feature? Or perhaps are you just someone that does not like this concept at all? Share us your thoughts down in the comment section below, as I do read all of your comments, guys. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button, as it always helps me out. And of course, if you guys would like to stay up to date with everything Forza Horizon related, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.